First, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Moving on, this is the portion of the meeting where we open it up to public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment? Anybody here for public comment? Anybody here for public comment? Seeing none, we will move to the program review. This month it is the Early Childhood Group, Becca Sieberlich and Abby Lang.
Good evening, it's just Abby Lang.
Okay.
All right, tonight we're going to do a little bit more talking about a program that I speak quite frequently about, our early childhood family education. And I apologize, I do not have a fancy presentation because I'm working on my budget.
Good job. Thanks.
The
queen has spoken.
Oh. All right, so early childhood family education is one of the many programs that fits underneath Community Ed's umbrella. Early childhood would probably be the larger, the parent. The kids are early childhood family education, school readiness, early childhood screening. So we like to, and what we're really working for within Delano Community Ed is an early childhood program, one that takes into account both ECFE and school readiness. But for tonight's purposes, we're going to dive a little bit more into early childhood family education. So in Minnesota, a program, a ECFE program, is designed to support parents in their role as their child's first teachers. It really focuses on bringing both parent education, which covers child development and learning, together with structured child-parent activities. So we really want to set aside dedicated time to support the relationship parents or caregivers have with their children, but then also to support parents and caregivers in their role through parent education components. Our structure currently is we have 2 sibling care providers. So one of a major benefit to having an ECFE class is also providing sibling care. And sibling care, then, if you have somebody, another student, another child that needs care during that time, you can utilize sibling care so that you can just dedicate your full attention to the one child in the class. We have 2 sibling care providers. We have 3 classroom education assistants. In other words, paraprofessionals. We have 2 ECFE teachers. We have 1 parent educator. We have an administrative assistant that provides program support. And then normally we would have an early childhood coordinator. We currently do not. I'm the acting early childhood coordinator this year. We are putting in place some long-term structures that will support early childhood as a whole. Originally housed within the Department of Ed, early childhood was one of the components that moved over to the Department of Children, Youth, and Families a couple of years ago. And so they oversee program implementation, oversight, funding, and professional development. So early childhood is specifically geared for children birth to age 3, with the components of supporting 4- and 5-year-olds and encouraging them to go towards school readiness. So that would be the other component. But really, you can provide that parent education piece up to almost 3rd grade. Primarily, we focus on that birth to not yet in kindergarten age. Like I said, there's substantial parent involvement. Either you're physically present or you're in a concurrent class. So on Fridays this year, we have a practice preschool class. And we run it under early childhood family education because at the same time, we have what's called Coffee Connection, which is an opportunity for parents to come together and just focus on that hour and a half of dedicated parent ed time. So we either want parents to be physically present or we want them to be in concurrent classes. And like I said, parent education is an integral part of each program. Early childhood family ed is a little bit different than school readiness in that they've always required licensed teachers. The license is usually that birth to age 3, but they've always required licensed teachers where licensed school readiness teachers aren't actually going to come into effect until 2028. We are ahead of that curve because the very vast majority, I think we have one who is just finishing up their license. We're already in that. Supervision of the program also requires a license. So like me as the community ed director, I have an administrative license, but my license doesn't actually cover supervising the program of early childhood. I can supervise the staff, but I need to have that licensed person there that gives us the input and specializes in those early childhood components. ECFE usually has its own advisory council. We currently do. We are definitely in a growing year in that we want to make sure that the people that are on the advisory council have children that are in our programs, or at least the majority of them, because they act as that counselor in, what does the community need? What do we want? What do we like? What should we try? Class registration fees for ECFE have to be on a sliding scale. So the state says we cannot turn somebody away for their inability to pay, which is different than the vast majority of community ed programs. It's a sliding fee scale that parents self-select their annual income, and then it translates to a designated amount. Funding for ECFE is made up of three components: state aid, levy funds, and registration fees. Registration fees are a very, very small part of it, but the vast majority relies on the number of students, the algorithm basically, but the number of people that live in our school district or community that are under 5 years of age. That's why we are constantly asking for census information. We're constantly trying to see who's moved here, who's had babies, who's adopted, because our ability to garner that information and provide it to the business office and then the state is what directly ties into the funding that comes back to us for early childhood family ed. One thing that's a little unique about ECFE funds is that any revenue coming in has to stay within ECFE. I can't use those funds to help cover a shortfall or another program. ECFE stays with ECFE because the state said 52 years ago, the ECFE program is vital to the state of Minnesota. So we adhere to that. The types of programs that ECFE covers it's outreach, right? Who's moving to our community? Who's making the connections? Who doesn't know about us? How can we provide those additional informations? We do baby packets. So for people that we find out that have new babies, we send them a baby packet. It includes a book. It used to have like a little blanket, some information on a class, an invitation to come and join us. We also have home visits. Our licensed parent educator calls it like one-on-one parent coaching. If you're struggling with, let's say, a behavior, inability to go to sleep when you're asked to go to sleep, we have a licensed parent educator that's like, hey, I am happy to come in. We can talk one-on-one, you and me. I can help give you some strategies. I can help, be that sounding board for what you're going through. We also have parent-only classes. So like I had said, that Coffee Connection is those one-on-one support or those small group support sessions. We have parent-child. Those are our primary ones. And they go from non-separating to gradually separating to separating classes. So we want parents to have that time to spend with their child, but then we also want to help children learn that it's okay if mom, dad, or caregiver goes away for a little while because they'll come back. And sometimes that ability to learn that takes the entire 8, 6, 10 weeks. It's kind of wild the very first day that a child goes through a separating class compared to the very last day they go through a separating class. It just gives credit to the educators. We also have partnerships. Our Coffee Connection class is offered free to the community, and we wouldn't have that ability without the support of United Way and without the support of the Wright County Health and Human Services. We receive some additional funding from them so we can offer that program for free. We've actually received funding from United Way for a number of years, and I want to say the same would be with Wright County Health and Human Services, but part of that comes from what the class is designed to do, what part of the community we're reaching, and that ability to provide it for free. Typical class, anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, which might seem kind of long for a 1 to 2 year old, but by the time you come in and you do some of that free choice play, we really focus on the process versus take-home art. You can draw and you can make pictures and you can bring all the cute things home for the fridge, but that's not necessarily what we want. Developmentally for these kids, we want them to feel and touch and see and taste and experience more so than create things to put on their fridge. So by the time you do that, you have some circle time with stories. That's also kind of those initial steps for helping children learn what it is to sit within structure for a small amount of time. You have a snack, you have a parent ed, free play, and an hour and a half, 2 hours flies right on by. The classes that we've offered just in this last year have been a babies class, so mom and babies, obviously not separating, but whether you're a new mom or you're a mom of 4, time with that baby and time to just listen and connect with each other is super important. Wonderful 1s and 2s, terrific 2s and 3s, book and play, wiggle and play, nature preschool, practice preschool, coffee connection. We also have a number of individual events. If anybody remembers, just a couple weeks ago, we had the Touch a Chuck program, which had over 1,000 people attend, 572 adults, almost 600 kids, the very vast majority coming from Delano, but also Montrose, Rockford, Watertown, Plymouth, New Brighton, Chanhassen, Chaska, Bloomington. Not as many going west, but it was a pretty significant program, which was awesome that the helicopter got to touch down. We had some food trucks. One of those opportunities to come out, spend an hour or 2 just going through the things and then continuing on with your day. It was a huge success and it was a chilly start, but it was a nice day. I have a couple of quotes that I think they're important to hear. What does the community actually think? Baby and Me class allows me to slow down and be fully present with my baby. Emily leads our time together with songs, books, and playtime. It also provides a valuable education that helps me grow more confident in caring for and connecting with my child. All of this while connecting with other moms. Michaela Vanek. We love ECFE. It provides a welcoming space for parents to meet other parents who are in the same season of life. We get tons of great knowledge and tips for both parents and babies, along with getting to know the community that our child is growing up in. Tylen Murray. If community ed is a wraparound front porch for the school district, ECFE is that very first step. As a parent who went through the program, I valued meeting community families and the opportunity for my children to move, sing, learn, and play with other children. As a parent and family educator, I believe that ECFE helps meet a variety of needs for local families, connection with their children, connection with each other, and connection with resources. That's what helps create the foundation for a child's development in these years of life changing, and I'm so honored to be part of it. Emily Hibble. Wrapping up, I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of that feeder program with early childhood screening. We've started referring to it as support, affirm, connect, because we want to make sure that what we're doing is supporting parents in their parenting. We're affirming a child's development. We're providing connections when the cases arise. This year, we did a total of 190 students. 80% of those were 3 and 4-year-olds. We want to have them screened as quickly as possible coming into that preschool classroom. 3.5 ideal, anywhere from 3 to 5 is okay. We really want to get away from thinking it's a kindergarten screening. It is not a kindergarten screening. It's an early childhood development and health screening. It's a snapshot that's done, that 3 and 3.5-year-old. Approximately 25% of those 190 students were given referrals for vision and hearing. That's often the most common referral that you're going to get. Hey, we maybe noticed something. Follow up with your healthcare provider. Let us know how it goes. Approximately 10% of those students were referred to what's called as Help Me Grow. It's a state referral system that connects special education services and providers with families. The areas that those students covered is speech and language, also the most common. We can catch a speech issue very early. Chances are of resolving it much faster than catching it after, I want to say it's like 7 years old is the latest. Speech and language is the most common. Social and emotional behavior, cognitive, and fine and gross motor skills. Those are the different areas that we can provide connections for families should further information be needed. In conclusion, what is an early childhood screening? It's a brief snapshot of a child's development at that point in time. It looks at hearing, vision, motor skills, speech, and early learning. It's an opportunity for families to ask questions and be connected with licensed providers, which are our staff, our educators. It's a way to identify strengths and supports if early intervention is needed, and it's a partnership. It's the ability to have a partnership between families and our early learning educators, that very first front porch step. What it isn't, it's not a kindergarten entrance exam. It's not a substitute or replacement of a well-child checkup for your healthcare provider. It's not a pass or fail test. It's not a judgment of parenting, and it's not a decision about school placement. I think the last time I was the greeter, every single parent was like, okay, work so hard, good luck. And we want to change that. We want parents to be like, have fun, doesn't matter. It's a snapshot. We're going to get some information. We're going to have the ability to ask some questions. And if something pops up, we're going to find some ability to create some connections. So screening in a nutshell, highly successful this year. Looking forward to next year. As I close with early childhood family education, we serviced over 1,132 people in this community just this past year, since September. 27% of those families indicated they were new. So they're either new to ECFE or new to Delano. That's a huge number. 27% of 1,000, those are over 250 families we are connecting with for the very first time. 60% are from Delano. So that's also the thing about community ed and early childhood family education is you do not have to be from the community. We had people coming from quite a few surrounding communities, including Delano, Montrose, Buffalo, Watertown. Sometimes the schedule works. Sometimes they have a connection here. Sometimes they want to try or they've heard of how great the program is. We don't turn them away. But I'm super excited that 60%, more than half of the 1,132 people are from our community, and we're looking to grow that number significantly. So we're excited about it. Some goals for the future: community outreach, new to Delano, new families, bridging preschool and early childhood family education, marketing, telling our story, patting our backs for the hard work that staff do, and community needs, daytime classes, evening classes, special events. We want to make sure that we are responsive and proactive and not reactive to the community. Any questions on ECFE?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The next item is the consent agenda, where we have previous board meeting minutes and a variety of financial reports. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
First by Sarah, second by Rachel. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to the next item, which I believe is the resolution for the acceptance of gifts. Let me just zoom in here quick, sorry. Okay. All right, whereas Delano Elementary Pie, $9,793.68 for Delano Elementary. Box Tops for Education, $22.30 for Delano Intermediate School. Delano Education Foundation, $297.26 for band and choir trip to Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Delano Tiger Athletic Booster Club, $12,989.47 for baseball booster paid coaches. Delano Rage Lacrosse, $12,000 for lacrosse practice wall. Delano Tiger Athletic Booster Club, $2,882.46 for softball booster paid coach. DTABC, $4,084.49 reimbursement for girl hockey bus and hotel. DTABC, $3,029.07 for girls lacrosse booster paid coach. The Initiative Foundation, $1,100 for Dorn Family Scholarship. Blackbaud Medtronics / Gredzens, $1,000 for the robotics team. All of these gifts have been generously offered to donate to the Delano Public Schools. Do I have a motion to accept the resolution for the acceptance of gifts?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote. First by Jim, second by Jess, sorry. A roll call vote.
Thank you. Board Member Deppa?
Aye.
Board Member Moyrila?
Aye.
Board Member Gerke?
Aye.
Board Member Schaust?
Aye.
Board Member Baker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the personnel report. The one item we wanted to call out note here is after many years of service, Kim Finn has decided to retire effective June 30th, 2026. So we want to thank her for all of her time and service for the district. Any other comments or questions on there? I think most of the rest are kind of your standard ins and outs, hiring and people leaving, things of that sort. Okay, if not, I will take a motion to approve the personnel matters.
So moved.
First by Jess,
Second.
second by Sarah. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next, we will move on to the administrative reports. The first one being Superintendent Shane.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I do have a presentation for you, and I will share this with my Thursday email as well. Just I want to cover a couple of things. Like I said last month, I wanted to give you just a little bit of information with regards to our strategic plan involving our desired daily experience statements. So as always, we want to review our mission and our vision and our core purpose and what we intend to create here in the vision of Delano Public Schools. And then those core values of a tiger, which is excellence, teamwork, belonging, and grit, as we look at the drivers of our words and actions. And that kind of correlates to what are the drivers of how we measure our words and actions with regards to our desired daily experience statements. The community education building update. As you well know, we are going to have tomorrow evening our second meeting for the facilities committee. We kicked it off a couple of weeks back. This is meeting number 2. The agenda items will include, as I see a typo there, review data regarding facility and program needs. We're going to review educational facilities standards. We're going to understand district finances and funding mechanisms. How do we get to a point of learning about that? And then really begin the development of needs and criteria. And then we're going to actually take a physical tour of the entire existing facility, just to see, again, matching those needs and criteria of what we need to look at moving forward. So that gives you just a brief overview of what we're going to do in meeting 2 tomorrow evening. And again, if board members are free, you most certainly can be with us. I'm not sure which room we're going to be in, if it's the same one, but we'll find a home and we'll be there in the community ed building. The desired daily experience statements from families, and I kind of broke this down into a couple of different ones. When we looked at, the executive team looked at the initial high-level results, these are the highest rating statements, was from families. They ranked us the highest of the 9 statements was, my child is safe and feels safe in the school environment, which was very good to know. There's a rubric that you had from 1 to 5. And so this one was the highest ranked statement of all. In the middle level, it was, I think there were 2 there, is my child is supported by trusted adults. And then also the statement of, I'm aware and knowledgeable of, boy, I got to look, the protocols the school has implemented to ensure safety and reinforce expected behavior. So those were the middle level areas. The lowest level, as far as what the district from a family's perspective was, is my district is transparent with information regarding curriculum and instruction. And this is true. We need to do some work in this area to make sure, you know, we have our curriculum, the board is approving curriculum now, but we need to make sure that either accessible via the website or somehow we communicate to our families that go, I want to know what's going on in 6th grade health. How do we organize that curriculum to make it reader-friendly for our parents to know what types of things are covered, or what math class covers certain standards, things like that. And that is an area that we should probably be paying attention to, so it's not surprising. From staff, the highest level results were in a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 statements. They are, I feel part of a cohesive community, school community that supports and encourages a positive culture where everyone, students, staff, and parents feel safe. They also ranked very high, I am and feel supported by my administration, my coworkers, making our team environment collaborative and effective. And then also, my time is respected, including preserving prep time and allowing for autonomy in determining appropriate professional development opportunities for my needs. I believe there was another one too there, and that was my work and time are valued. So there were 4 statements that ranked high with staff in that area. The middle level result, somewhere in the C plus to B minus category, is my district facilities and technology enhance the ability to teach and students' ability to learn. So that was the middle of the road. The lower area was, I know that class size, student academic needs, and behavioral needs are all considered when developing class rosters because this information has been communicated to staff. So that was one statement that we're going to reflect on as an executive team to see how we can improve in that area. They also initiated instead that my building has a clear and consistent behavior plan that is enforced consistently across classrooms and grade levels. So that's another thing that will give the executive team an opportunity. These statements and the results from these statements is one piece of information that will potentially drive action cards for year 2 of the strategic plan. And their last one that, and again, lowest result is, you got to remember, this could be a 2 out of 5. And high would be 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. Middle of the road is 3 out of 5. My building is fully staffed with qualified personnel who are able to address academic, behavioral, and mental health needs effectively, including a consistent pool of subs who can fill a variety of assignments at any building. And that's going to be a constant challenge and has been a constant challenge since a long time. And it's just trying to make sure that we access our human resources consistently to address the needs that we have. From students' perspective, I organized this a little bit differently. We had intermediate students that were surveyed and secondary students that were surveyed. In the intermediate students, all but one statement received 4 out of 5. And then the other statement received 3 out of 5. So very, very positive. A lot in the green zone with regards to that. At the secondary level, a little diversified there. 3 statements received 4 out of 5. 6 statements received 3 out of 5, which would be that middle level. And then 1 statement received a 2 out of 5. And then these are all averaged and quantified. So the average from the students, the families, and the staff was from 2.9 to 3.6. And this is part of that vision card that will quantify these belief statements that will help drive year 2 of the strategic plan. And I would say, is there any questions?
When was this survey, or were they surveyed?
The survey was done in January, February?
Or March?
March.
Okay.
March. And so we spent the last 2 months just kind of analyzing it, seeing it out. We will have a communication plan. Bobby and I are working on getting all of the information out from students, staff, and parents to staff. And then parent will receive parent feedback as well. So we'll circle back and make sure, hey, back in March, we asked you for your reflection on how these desired daily experiences are being met. Now here, we'll give you a high-level result back, so.
What was the one student statement that was a 2 out of 5?
Oh, go.
I think that's an average, so it wouldn't be 1, right? Are you talking about the intermediate?
Well, there
was one secondary, one was
statement that was rated a
2 out of 5. The rest are all 3s or 4s.
Yeah. That was exactly my question.
Oh,
It was students and staff hold each other accountable to common building expectations, the Tiger Way.
that
Tiger
aligns
Pride.
with what Mr. Voigt kind of told us too. Yeah, okay.
That comment that was low from staff felt like 3 comments. So how do you drill down to which one they actually were concerned about?
Yeah,
Could have
we're gonna,
been
that's what we're gonna,
Subs, but yeah, you had, the school doesn't have enough good teachers, is how I read that.
Right.
Or support staff.
Or support
Right, like
staff,
parents
or, but yet it was all mixed together into one.
so we have a data retreat scheduled for the 10th of June. And the executive leadership team is going to take a deeper dive with all of the vision card measurements throughout the entire strategic plan. So we'll start looking at that and taking a deeper dive.
Are you able to look at that data and see which buildings certain comments are coming from, or like grades? And I'm assuming you don't know which teachers those comments are coming from, but that you're able to say, okay, well, this is more an issue with this group of kids or this section of kids that seem to have higher behaviors, so that we can address those issues or concerns more?
I don't think we had in the survey to identify, I'm pretty sure did this too. They did it by building, but not by grade level.
You can at least get down to the building level.
Right. So what we're doing too, we did have open comments that we could place, not just a numerical value towards each of the statements. And we're going to take all of those comments, put them into AI, and start organizing into themes as well.
Sure, that's a green on the stop.
Green light.
Yeah,
Green light?
yes. And I am a user of Grammarly.
Watch out.
I know.
It's not Grammarly, they need to change their name.
That's right. So that's all the information I have for you this evening. There are no other questions. We can move on.
What time is the meeting tomorrow? Community ed meeting? Time?
7 o'clock. 6:30.
We wanted you to be fashionable.
Be over by 7.
Sorry, too late.
Dang
Okay.
it, why is Jim always
for coming.
He's asking too many questions.
Fellow members of our facility
His
committee.
third question of the night, therefore we would like him 30 minutes late. Any other questions for Matt? Otherwise, we can move on to the principals. Okay, Ms. Thompson, it looks like you are first.
All right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for allowing me to present to you this evening as a representative of the intermediate school. I'll give you an overview of what we've been working on here in the month of May. First, I'll start with our site-based team. Our site-based team for the last couple weeks, and we have our last meeting tomorrow morning, has been reviewing our action cards. So that just those goal areas that we've been working on and doing some brainstorming for maybe some directions we would like to take in the upcoming year. We will have then our August kind of retreat day like we usually do, and we'll take some of those ideas and then put them into some goals for next year. For our professional development, we do have an early release this week. We are continuing with our same work, our letters work, our strive work, and then we're also doing some placement of our students for next year in interventions. We did just finish up all of our screening, so we'll be looking at that data as well and placing some students in interventions. I can share a little bit, speaking of our screening data, some of our data. We finished our math screening, our reading screening, and our SABRS, which is our social emotional screener. We do that all through FAST, and we did that during the first couple weeks of May. Generally speaking, when we look at our screening windows, we're looking to see kind of the health of our core instruction and then identify students who might need intervention support. So we're always kind of looking for that 80% goal to see if we're kind of reaching what we need to reach in terms of our core instruction and how it's meeting the needs of our students. So we met our goal of 80% or higher of students meeting those benchmarks in all three of those areas, which is always really encouraging to see. I won't read through every single area. I'll just kind of share some highlights. So in math, I just want to point out our fifth grade. Our fifth grade increased in 6% of their proficiency. They went from 75% to 81%, which is really excellent, a really great amount of growth. And then if you remember, I pointed out in the winter, our sixth grade math started their new curriculum this year, the Reveal program, and went through, and we were a little concerned about, we talked about an implementation dip, we talked about having a long-term sub with us, and they've just been working really hard with that new curriculum this year. They started the year 90% proficient in math, and then they took the FAST again just last week, and they're still 90% proficient, which is really incredible to be 90% proficient in general, and then considering also just all that they took on this year. Natalie Palmer has been back with us for about a month now, so we'll just give her all the credit for that. I guess she is the queen of math. So, but they are still 90% proficient, which is really excellent and very encouraging when you're implementing a new curriculum, and it's been a challenge. So overall, 83% proficient in math at DIS, and that was an increase of 2% throughout the year. In reading, highlighting our fifth grade again, they did some great work this year. They went from 79% to 83% proficient. Our sixth grade was 91% proficient, which is amazing to begin with. They're 88% proficient. So they went down a little bit. One area I think that we can focus on growing is our fourth grade scores. Our fourth grade does their WIN intervention just a little bit differently. It's not as structured. And so they were 80% proficient, which is still excellent, but ended the year 77% proficient. So I think there's some room for growth there, just in looking at maybe how they're doing their interventions and if we could structure them a little bit differently. But overall, in reading, we ended 82% proficient as a building. So we're not quite finished with all of those fast tests in reading, but we're almost done. Sixth grade was scheduled to take that test on the afternoon that the internet went out. So that was a bummer. So they're not quite done. They're finishing that up. And then our Sabres screener overall, we started the year, 90% of our students were low risk. And then in the spring, when we took it again, 87% of the students low risk. So again, strong numbers in all three of those categories. So we're feeling good about the work that our teachers and our students did this year, which is great to see. I'll just wrap up. I forgot last month, and I feel like I need to recognize a couple of things that happened in April. In April, we held our Give Back Week, which we do every year. Give Back Week is organized by Andy Brown, Katie Culvener, and Rebecca Olmscheid. And they kind of put together in 1 week a fundraising opportunity for our students. And they raise money for the Ronald McDonald House and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. They collect food shelf items and pop tabs. And were you there? They load just tons and tons of food items and different things onto this van. They collect so much and they do a lot of really great work in 1 week. Coburn's donated a ton of stuff. And so I forgot to call them out last month and I wanted to call them out. It's a really cool thing that our kids do. And those three teachers do a lot of work. So I wanted to recognize that. And also we had History Day competitors last month that competed at state that I forgot to recognize too. So Heidi O'Donnell and Teresa Campbell always do a great job with our sixth graders. And we had 9 students who earned honorable mention at state last month. So in addition to that, otherwise in the month of May, I have about 10 bullet points of different things, but I'll just suffice it to say we have a lot happening, lots of fun events, track and field, wax museum, all the field trips, and just a lot of fun things happening at DIS. And then I will just conclude by recognizing our 2 retirees. At DIS, they were mentioned last month as well, but Mary Summers, Natalie Palmer are both retiring in just a couple of weeks, both longtime employees here at the intermediate school and in Delano schools, and they will be missed greatly. But I don't think that they are terribly sad. I've checked in with both of them and they are ready to take on some new adventures. So we will miss them. And I just want to recognize what they've done for our district. So comments or questions for the intermediate school? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Mr. Voigt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's a pleasure to speak with you on behalf of Delano High School. I usually start with a list of recognitions, and I have a long list tonight. So we'll just jump right into it. The first chunk of recognitions actually was right before the last meeting that we had in February, so I didn't get a chance to recognize them then. But we have a number of students that participate on the speech team with Orono, but they're Delano students, and I think we had like 7 students do well at sections, but 4 of our students placed well enough at sections to go to state. So Harrison Stenbeck and Winston Berg did well. Winston was actually a section champion and was a state participant, and Harrison took second place in the section and went to state. But we also had 2 state, we had 1 state champion and a state third place entrant. So Oliver Berg was the state champion for creative expression, and Ariana Langdon was third place for the discussion category at speech. So congratulations to those Delano students. Obviously they compete with our co-op of Orono, but significant achievement on their part and representing Delano well. I also would like to recognize the girls track team who are conference champs, and they just actually took third place at the True Team State Tournament. Our baseball team just recently secured the conference championship, and our boys golf team was conference champs, and Connor Oja was the overall individual champion for our boys golf conference. And Bryn Spanier, I just saw on X, as a matter of fact, she was named as an all-conference female golfer. So long list of recognitions. Congratulations to all of our student athletes. Transitioning to the site-based update, or just general events at the high school. Last week, we had the pleasure to recognize our seniors at Senior Awards Night. And I just want to extend a sincere appreciation to all of our community sponsors, and particularly Delano Area Scholarship Association. This year, we were blessed to hand out over $125,000 of scholarships to our seniors. So just a phenomenal event. It's an opportunity, obviously, for us to recognize the seniors and all of their great achievements and hand out some significant cash. So congratulations to all of our seniors. We're, now that Senior Awards Night is done, we're quickly transitioning to prepare for graduation. As you know, graduation is May 31st, and we look forward to all of you participating in that. And just for maybe viewers in the public, they should know that our graduation this year, due to the size of our class, is a ticketed event. And so all of our seniors will be actually picking up their caps and gowns and tickets tomorrow during win time. So each senior gets 7 tickets. We're encouraging families to just work together behind the scenes to trade tickets if they don't need all 7 of theirs. Unfortunately, the class size, well, fortunately, the class size is large, but that does put space limitations. On the bright side, I should say, we are live streaming that event thanks to Jackson and some members of his team. We're going to actually produce a live stream that's a little bit higher quality than just the huddle camera that's, hanging in the gym. So we'll actually have a produced live stream event, and we are going to show that in the pack on the day of graduation so that families can still come and be a part of the festivities, but then if they don't have a ticket, they can just watch in the pack. And then when the ceremony is over, they can come into the TAC and engage in the, gathering and photo taking and hugging and all those sorts of things. So a very busy time of the year. Obviously, our spring sports are wrapping up. We're quickly approaching graduation and, getting all of our kids to finish the year strong. And the last update I have for you is that we are happy, knock on wood, that right now, as of now, all of our staffing positions for teaching staff are filled. So we will be welcoming 6 new teachers next year at the high school. So we're excited for all of our new people coming in and welcome them to the team. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has about Delano High School.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz with the elementary school.
All right, I have some data to show you, and we had some technical difficulties, so we weren't able to get it projected, but I do have. These are EduClimber graphs, however you guys want to look at this. So it's kind of great to see it put together that way. Lindsay was able to pull this data for us and then kind of compile it. And it's important to kind of see, I have it on my phone, so apologies. I'm going to be using my phone for this portion. Good evening, everyone, by the way. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the elementary school. Getting ahead of myself. The elementary did some shifts sort of mid-year because through the course of the end of last year and this year, MDE has come out with some new requirements of tests for our kids. So we had been doing solely FAST subtests, which would get us a composite score for our K and 1 kiddos. And then MDE started adding on tests. And then our MDE composite score is what is in our local literacy plan. So we were sort of doing 2 things and getting different data points and also assessing kids a lot. And we wanted to kind of narrow the focus to really align with what is MDE requiring, what is the MDE composite telling us, and then what can we eliminate that isn't going to be relevant, but we're still assessing kids. So it's not as comparative necessarily as it has been in the past, but it will be more so in upcoming years. We wanted to try out the new MDE test to see kind of what information that gave us. And because we needed to know more about what this oral repetition test was that we were having our students take. So with that, so like when you look at fall to spring for our kindergarten, like that from a data perspective is like, oh, what's going on there? But that's what's going on there because we shifted the tests. So those oral repetition tests for kindergartners and nonsense words are very difficult for them because they're just
stringing words together now, especially in those nonsense words. So I am not concerned with this graph at all. I think that it just is telling of kind of where we need to go and what we need to track as they move into first grade. And also it might help us sort of determine our pacing of what skills that we're teaching in early kindergarten at the same time. So it's not apples to apples data.
Rachel, are other schools seeing this?
What do you mean?
Like that decrease on their FAST scores in that kindergarten range?
Well, I'm not sure. I'd have to ask Lindsay because I'm not sure if everybody has transitioned into the MDE composites yet. We did last year when Diane was in the literacy coordinator role because we had all these different requirements coming, which I know you know a lot about. But then it helps us place students in that risk range or no risk range or moderate risk. So I'm curious to know, as schools will be required, to utilize some of these assessments and subtests, what they're seeing and what they're using. So there's not enough out there yet to see. Great question though. And then our math, you can see that's a prettier graph because that's apples to apples. We want to see all green for sure, and we want to see very little red. The test didn't change mid-year for math like they did for our reading. FAST for reading in first grade, that is pretty much on trend there. So that sort of lets us know, like, okay, we have some work to do with some of our sum risk and our significant risk. But again, in the spring, that is the first time that those kids are doing some of those assessments, like the CBMR fluency. That's a big jump for kids when they're going to first grade. So this data does not surprise me. And I think, if we have a majority in green, that's a plus. And it's not the same test from fall, winter to spring. Those are all different subtests each try. For math, dip in that one. So we kind of want to look and see what skills that they're pulling for those. Oh, is there somebody talking in here? Well, I just heard a noise. So anyway, sorry.
Noise.
We distracted so easily.
For the fast reading, second grade, this was an area that we were all really, really proud of. This is apples to apples across the board. So this one is a nice snapshot of the growth. In fall, they started with 50% that were of no concern, and then went to 71% in the spring. And then 35% were in significant concern in the fall, down to 8%. So that is really nice growth for our second graders in reading. And then for math, now this is where we don't have the composite scores for through MDE. So this is going to be your true FAST, where you have the college pathway and the low risk. So combined data there. Lots of blue, lots of green, very little red. That's what we like to see. And then in third grade reading as well, just a skinny little sliver of red for our third graders in reading. Now for this one, to me, this tells us like we need to focus on our sum risk kiddos more intently, with more intention as far as our interventions. Because if we have a lot of kids in sum risk, only our high risk right now, our significant risks are the ones that are getting serviced. So we might need to look at our delivery model for our intervention. If we have not as many in kindergarten that are significant, maybe we need to pull some of our sum risk third graders so they can springboard into fourth grade as more independent readers. So all of those things are what we'll kind of review when we have our site-based data retreat as well. And then third grade for math, this one was a little surprising to me because we went down a few, but our MCA preliminary data went up. So I don't really have necessarily a great response for the dip in the FAST when it was an increase of 8% from MCAs. So I don't know. It's all kind of relative when it comes down to data. It's a snapshot of kids on those days. And, we work with what we got. And I think we have a lot of great growth happening with that data. Is there questions that you have for me looking at that?
I guess my only question is like somebody who studies and looks at data all day is like the kindergarten and first grade data is almost completely useless, right? Like to us,
Right.
I know you guys have a bunch of
Yes.
data underneath that
Yes.
you're looking at and analyzing, and that makes sense. Clearly, come second and third grade, the scores are doing mostly what we want,
Yes.
right? But you look at kindergarten and first grade, there'd be absolutely nobody that look at that and not be alarmed.
Right.
So like, how do we either get data that isn't alarming or somehow acknowledge that that data is completely not of benefit?
Right.
It's like if I looked at it and said, the green pie goes the opposite direction materially in every single one of those things in kindergarten and first grade, like,
What's going on?
how do we know if that's a problem or not?
Right.
Other than to say second and third grade look pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just
Yep, I know. I agree with you, and I've struggled with that since we moved to early reading and early math because the subtests are changing every trimester.
You feel like you have the underlying data to appropriately assess what you need to do so that by the time they're getting to like a level benchmark, multiple tests of similar
Yes.
things, like you feel like you get good data out of that, or is it all
think-
just a-
When we have our report card data, which is different than our screening data,
Yep.
that is telling for us.
Okay.
I think also when I see our interventionists exiting kids and I see that progress monitoring data,
Yep.
that to me is telling as well. And so those are all of those indicators that aren't in those pie
Yeah,
charts,
totally.
you know, so we're not, this is just a snapshot and unfortunately it's like, it's hard to know what's happening or what we need to do.
Right.
But we do, and the practitioners as teachers, they know what to do because they know their kids inside and out. So if there's a better way to frame up that data to show the actual growth that's occurring,
Yeah.
that would probably be more advantageous. But with having the assessments change mid-year, that's something that we have to consider. So hopefully we'll be able to look a little closer at it next year as we get more familiar with the MDE composites and subtests.
That's helpful.
I think it's a reminder to take data for what it is. You have an example here. You're testing reading. Oh, but no, you're testing, the tests produce completely different results around the same construct.
Right.
So testing data, we have to keep that in mind as one part of the picture. Staff interpretation of student learning is one, and progress monitoring is another one. Yeah, altogether, they give us a better picture. We just have to remember this is, as with all standardized testing, a snapshot,
Yes. Yep.
and may not even be measuring the same thing
Right.
time to time. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's no more questions on the data, then I will continue with a quick site-based update. We just kind of did a full circle highlights of the year, and we'll share those at our closing staff meeting next week. Last handbook updates, which you have seen already. We reviewed all of our action cards and have made progress on all of those and are going to restructure our secondary Q-Comp meetings. So Meredith and I went over to the intermediate school. Ms. Thompson has sort of revamped how she conducts some of her meetings to give opportunity to review data and focus a lot on the action cards that they're doing in regards to interventions. So we went and observed over there, and we're excited to kind of build in some of our action cards into those secondary Q-Comp meetings with blended groups. A PD update, we have our last letter session on Wednesday, so that is very exciting for our staff, and a big thank you to Diane Pullman for being our letters facilitator. She did a wonderful job the last 2 years. And we've also gotten a lot of requests from teachers for the summer to work on math curriculum, which is great since that will be a brand new curriculum. And then also for some PD is our cardiac response team. That training is this Wednesday as well. And Krista Wadholm has been organizing that. So thank you to her for that. Staffing update, we are currently filled heading into summer. We hired a speech and language pathologist. Katie Lyon is heading over to the intermediate school. So that opened up a position at the elementary school, and that is filled. And then for summer school, we have 4 sections. We have 1 kindergarten section, 1 combined K1, 1 second grade section, and 1 combined second and third. So we have 4 teachers for our summer school classes. And Anthony is still working on the ESY programming. And then last, a couple of things we were celebrating last week. We had our PE game day last Friday, very well attended, lots of great volunteers, beautiful weather. So Brady Soleil and Tim Lingen put that together for us. And then Miss Coots has her music concerts on Thursday. Got a couple more field trips, and third graders are heading to the intermediate school to check out that place as they are heading that way next year. Our all-school picnic is on the 26th, and we had our evacuation relocation drill last week, and that went really well. We were really impressed with how the kids handled themselves and staff as well. And in my conversations with a couple kids, it was great to hear them talk about it and the why behind it. So I think either it's a partnership with our parents and families, since we share that information out, and also the delivery from the classroom teachers to make it just sort of what it is and why it's important to practice. So job well done by everybody on that drill. And we learned some things along the way, of course, with our drills, as we always do. Any questions or comments?
It's the last day again?
Last day of June 1st.
June 3rd.
Yeah. June 1st is the last full day. Then we have 2 early releases. Yes, June 2nd and June 3rd. And yes.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. We will move on to the business manager, Miss Reader, and finance and operations director, Mr. Lesage. Is that right? Yep. That's what I thought. Here.
So Scott and I worked on a little report last week. So if you look on the pages 2 and 3, we're still trending right in the areas where we should compared to the prior 3 years as well. We'll be updating the budget again, just as a final tweaking and for the June meeting. So things might change a little bit by then, but otherwise we're still looking good at this point in time. The legislative session is just ending right now. Looks like we'll be getting a little bit more towards compensatory revenue, or they're projecting it at this point. I don't think it's been finalized yet, but it'll just actually get us to what our revenue is this year. Probably be about an extra 20,000 over above what was budgeted for going into next year based on original preliminary revenue projections. That'll kind of be updated with our FY27. Otherwise, you want to go to the last page, I think. You don't have to do that page. That's just in there. Yeah, so we really don't have much going for this one at this point. Legislatively, we're not seeing anything. If anything, it's going to be a little compensatory revenue for us. But again, it's not a session where they had any money to spend, or it's also not one of the major bienniums either. So next year will be some big changes for the school possibly, but at this point, this is not going to be too much of a change going into next year from what we already know. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have community ed with Miss Lang.
Hi again.
So,
Right. Well, since I did so much talking and got so many words out, I have got a much smaller presentation. This week, Early Childhood has a family picnic on Thursday. It used to be an ECFE potluck and a preschool graduation. They're combining at Central Park. They're going to have a family picnic. So excited about that. I saw some little kids taking pictures with caps and tassels and whatnot today. So it's a big deal, getting ready to head off to DES. We have a ton going on, just even in staffing alone. We have an administrative assistant who is going to be moving south here shortly. We just hired a part-time enrichment coordinator. We're looking to hire a new assistant or a new administrative assistant. We made an offer that is accepted to a part-time marketing specialist, which will be super exciting. And then Kim Finn is retiring. So we're really taking some time to look at our facilities and tax structure and say, what are some short-term solutions that will give us some time to provide some long-term systems. So there's kind of a lot going on with that regard. As with any sort of staffing change, it takes a ton of time and a ton of planning. So Everybody's really trying to help with that lift. And that also affects the budget. So we're trying to be very strategic in how we plan for that. We've made some significant progress in a bunch of areas, and I will talk about that in June. My other exciting news is just a Tiger Swim program update. This Thursday, we have an interest meeting for potential lifeguards and swim teachers. I think we have 6 lifeguards and 4 or 5 swim teachers so far that are interested. So the interest meeting is going to talk about, working for Delano Community Ed. What does that mean for the Tiger Swim program? What are some opportunities to do some training? We have an assessment day that is coming up. I should back up. The interest meeting will also talk about work agreements. So I've always paid for staff to become certified as either WSI teachers or lifeguards in exchange for you work for me. So I'd like to extend that opportunity to this group of people as well. It's a great way to kind of get that initial buy-in. I'm happy to pay for your certification. You teach swimming lessons or do lifeguarding for us. So super excited about that program, the interest meeting. It will also then be kind of that job interview sort of onboarding. From there, we're going to try and plan out some schedules for some training, some lifeguard opportunities. The very biggest challenge right now is finding a Red Cross lifeguard trainer. They are so few and far between, and they can kind of pick and choose their own schedules. So definitely a challenge, but coming up in just a couple of weeks, we're going to have a training day and then an assessment opportunity. So the assessment opportunity is open to families. They are going to be quick 10-minute evaluations that look at your basic safety skills, your water independence, and then your stroke mechanics. From there, we give them priority registration for our summer mini camps, which is the opportunity to have 4 sessions, get back in the pool, start doing some structured lessons, but also really give those WSIs and those swim teachers the opportunity for some hands-on learning before we launch our official structured lessons in the fall. Any questions for Community Ed? Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have our student board representatives.
For our report this meeting, we have a little video for you guys.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
The video doesn't work, you have to act it out. I'm really hoping it doesn't work. You can do it.
Hang on.
You can act.
Just tried this.
Run it through AI.
Works.
Jackson, Matt needs your help.
Look how quick he was on.
Tried this.
It's,
He's like, yep. Saw it going downhill.
here it comes.
Make Logan act it out.
I don't know if I could.
I have faith in you. Oh, darn.
Did you just stand by us?
So excited.
Near the
That could have backfired too.
No.
No sound.
All right.
Come on back.
What about volume, Jackson?
That little speaker. Bottom right of your screen where the little speaker icon is.
Go back up.
Well, that's your internet.
And then hit the, whatever this icon is right there. And then, weird.
You might have to just tell us all the words now. You don't have to act, you just have to narrate.
Do you have it memorized?
Do I toggle it? It says spatial sound is off.
No, that shouldn't be it. It should
We have
have
the-
audio. What happens when you play the video?
There we go. Go.
We really like the sports that something I like about the schools is the telling stories. I like the teachers the most, especially Bob. What I like most about high school is the basketball program and the teachers are really nice.
My favorite part of it was this was from the office. My favorite thing from Delano School is all the fun things that we get. I like favorite thing from Delano is like spending time with like friends. We have really good teachers. Our favorite thing to do at Delano School is to do a lot of fun activities. What I like about Delano School is all the teachers are really nice and kind, and yeah, she got. I like Delano schools because the teachers really work hard to solve. My favorite thing about Delano is my favorite teacher, Mr. School is secrets. I know difference one about the school is good math. I like making friends and my teachers are my favorite thing about school was our class.
Favorite school memory is my state. My favorite memory at Delano is going to state for dance.
My favorite memory at Delano schools is the football tailgates.
My favorite memory is hanging out with my friends at prom and football games.
Our favorite memory is going to state for volleyball.
My favorite memory from Delano schools is grab out field trips.
My favorite memory of Delano schools my favorite memory about Delano schools is probably our powder field trip, which I thought was really fun. My favorite memory about Delano schools is playing basketball. My favorite part of school was going to be a lot of fun. My favorite part of school is going to the quote dance. My favorite memory from school was sports knowledge.
No message from seniors who have had the privilege of attending Delano high school career.
I will miss the people most I know in schools.
We all miss our underclassmen friends. I'm gonna miss all this fun activities that we do. I will miss Delano softball because of my teammates and coaches. I will miss seeing all my favorite underclassmen and all the teachers in the hallways and stopping to talk to them.
I will miss most my friends and all the teachers.
I will miss most going to the office, remember, and just to talk to my counselor.
I'm gonna miss football games and memorizing.
Oh, yes.
It's not official.
Yeah, you're right.
It isn't approved yet.
Right, you're right, that's not approved yet, okay. All right.
And that is our report. Any questions?
Thank you.
One last piece of, it's every May of every year, we give an exit little token of our appreciation. I think during senior award night, Logan received a $1,000 scholarship from the school board in her role in meeting her needs and meeting her obligations as a student school board representative. This next little symbolic thing, we started this tradition a few years back, and this is to officially grant her and give her her nameplate. So, welcome, Logan, to the graduating class of 2026, and thank you for your service as a student school board representative.
Thank you.
You'll know where you belong.
Okay, thank you. Next, we move on to our board reports, which the first one is Masiko.
Well, I feel like I'm following like the funniest comedian in the lineup. Like, how am I supposed to follow your video? April Masiko was very routine. I will just highlight one event that Rockford has put on for the second year in a row, which is the DAPE extravaganza. So DAPE, which is Adapted Fayed, and it hosts an event at Rockford that allows students to explore opportunities with motor coordination and social skills through engaging activities. The DAPE teacher had a whole gym full of really engaging and fun physical activities. And so Delano this year was able to attend. Last year, they were not able to coordinate with that, but students had a great time, and really it is a highlight of the school year. Other than that, we have our meeting tomorrow night, which will be held at Wings in Litchfield. Again, That is a program that's a care and treatment program where Masico provides the education to those students who are there. That's it.
Cool. Next one is Right Tech Center, which is me, and they did not distribute their minutes yet. So I followed up to try to get them to distribute them, but I have not received them. So I'll give you a quick update. It was another whopper of a 25-minute meeting. Couple of points to call out, though. There were a few Delano students that received scholarships. Grayson Poplar received the Wright Hennepin Co-op Electric Association scholarship for $1,500. And Owen Anderson received a $1,500 scholarship from HSI. So that was pretty cool. I think there were 4 scholarships and 2 of them went to Delano students. So that part was good. They talked a little bit about their summer school program. New this year, there's no Friday class, or just a program highlight, nothing wild there. And then they have a few field trips coming up to the Arboretum, and they have a end of school year annual cookout on the 29th. So other than that, it was pretty business as usual with the normal financial reports and various goings on at the Capitol or other things that they were doing. But any questions for Right Tech? Okay, we'll move on. Old business, we had none. New business. The first item up is to approve the adoption of the new K through 12 math curriculum and review the K through 5 math adoption report. A couple of things were brought up, just questions from the group, so I don't know if anybody has questions before we move for approval, but yeah.
Just a quick question, Matt. I know we received an email on the math thing and you were going to forward it. Did any of them, when you forwarded that email on, have any concerns that matched the concerns in the email? Or were they fine with it?
When I talked to the executive team, I did, obviously I responded on behalf of the district. There was a couple of things in there that were referenced in the email that like 90% was digital. It's actually not 90%. It's more like 50%. But in all fairness to say, like I responded, we just lived the first year of it. And it is a very big, it's a big shift in delivering curriculum, which is difficult, to do that the first time through. So we'll do an annual review again, and we'll make sure that we'll address those concerns that were raised by the parents. I think everybody on the team acknowledged that it is a big transition, and it's going to take a few times to get through the curriculum to work out the kinks.
They were still okay with going through with it?
Yep.
Okay.
I would just say maybe next year, as we move to the digital delivery of this in part, which is kind of a change, and a conceptual change of math instruction, which I understand that was described to us last year. I don't know, maybe we can have more routine sort of like check-ins or updates on how it's going from the admin when they're doing their monthly updates. I think just for us to understand how it's actually rolling out, we'll see, some data as part of that as well, that, that's kind of our responsibility to keep looking at that. But I think maybe just more frequent updates of successes, challenges, questions might be helpful for us to understand as we, I think, understand this is a big, maybe paradigm shift of math instruction.
A request I have too is, say we see a shift in scores or testing based on it, do we have the ability? I think some of the books were here for quite some time before shifting. What's the ability to change or swap with the curriculum when it is digitalized versus paperback?
To change to?
Or from.
Or from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be a good question that we would just have to research more of. When we do a curriculum adoption process, there's always going to be room to make some changes and some tweaks, but you're in it for, you can't just do it. It's quite an investment. So you can't just, no, this didn't work after a year. It requires quite a bit of research and design. That's why by the time it gets to the board approval, it's gone through a whole 2-year process of doing research and looking at with the committee, with the teachers, with the administrators to make sure that we have that piece. But within an existing curriculum, there's always room to make some adjustments just based on what we're seeing. And that's got to be driven by our data.
So if we end up with a situation where we've switched to this more heavily used electronic format and things change, do we have the ability to switch back to some form of paper manual version of that through the same curriculum? Or, because what I think everyone's fearful of is we're talking about spending hundreds of thousands of whatever large amounts of money on this curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
What happens given we're only 1 year into it with the part we did last year? What happens if in 3 years we find out it doesn't work the way we intended? Like, are we writing off some incredible amount of money and we just kind of threw that away? Or do we have the ability to adapt that curriculum and program that we paid for to somehow meet those needs?
I think there's room for both, because we're not going to be the only district that utilizes this curriculum. So if it's, you know, we won't be alone. If there's some egregious issues there, that's going to be incumbent upon the company to provide some updates and some changes to make sure that it's aligned that way.
Okay, so I think the next step then for the K through 12 math curriculum is to approve. So I need a motion to approve and then a second.
So moved.
First by Sarah,
Second.
second by Rachel. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the list is 14B, approve the adoption of the 9 through 12 World Language Review and Adoption Report. If I recall right, we went over that last round as well, right?
Yep. Same thing.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the 9 through 12 World Language Review.
So moved.
First by Jim,
Second.
second by Rachel. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have? First by Jim,
Second.
second by Sarah. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, we will adjourn at 8:18 PM.
Have we ever had to